You know why? Most of them are dead. I've interviewed not just the USS Liberty survivors. I've interviewed the judge advocate generals. I've interviewed the admirals. I've interviewed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I've interviewed the adjunct. I've interviewed the admiral's son on the aircraft carrier. LBJ, the Israelis are out there bombing our ship, trying to sink it to blame it on Egypt during that war so they can bring the Russians in. They just had Gulf of Tonkin a few years before, in 1964, where they said our ship was attacked to get us into Vietnam fully. L.L. Lemnitzer and others had come to Kennedy with a plan to stage terror attacks in the U.S. and Guantanamo Bay to blame the Cubans and the Russians to go to full World War III. Well, this was just Operation Northwoods, what that's called, 2.0 in 67 or whatever, 68, to be able to go to full war with Russia. So they were going to blow up that ship, international waters, most decorated ship in U.S. history, the intelligence ship, the USS Liberty, with Captain McGonigal running it, who had its guts blown out, strapped them all in, everything else. Giant torpedo holes, thousands of cannon holes, 50 cal holes. They sent jet after jet after jet after jet, gunboats, everything. And finally, the Israeli commandos on helicopters, but then they just refused and just went away. And the first wave of planes that came in were told to attack the ship. And then they had the Star of David on them. And they said, no, it's a giant American flag. It's international waters. I'm not going to do it. So they recalled them and then a group of black jets. Black Mirages, that V-shaped French plane.
Yeah.
Black jets come. So they had like suited up, Mossad or whatever, pilots were ready to do it. They even hadn't thought of that. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm like, so I interview all the people. It comes out in the secret court judge advocate, hearings they had for over a year, that the admiral launched his jets only like 10 minutes away to go save the ship. And McNamara comes on the line, Secretary of Defense, and he says, the president orders you to turn those back. And he said, no, it's our ship. It's under attack by the Israelis. They'd shot up their radio equipment, but they were able to get another antenna up. They knew what they were doing. Well, they were so smart. When they shot up most of the antennas, one was left. They ran up, interviewed the radio guy, and grabbed the antenna to run down, thinking when they thought they'd knocked it out, because the Israelis were watching. They knew what they were doing. Yeah. They ran up and strung it again and got the SOS out. Yeah. And told them what was happening. So they launch off the carrier, and he turns them back. But then the Israelis keep attacking. And the aircraft carrier is talking to the Israelis saying, stop. And they're just not responding. Not lying, just not responding. I've done like 10 hours just on the communications on the aircraft carrier. Interviewed the radio guys, all of them. Because the great people at the USS Liberty Association, we've gotten them on. And so then the admiral goes, that's it, launch all the aircraft, go engage the enemy. McNamara calls back and he says, turn those planes back. And he goes, it's an order for the president. He goes, I'm not doing it unless I hear from the president. And so the president comes on, the satellite link, radio link,